Elder Scrolls Oblivion had this remaster, and in the remaster they made some changes. Some of them are improving the game greatly. For example, what they did with the level up system is a huge plus in my opinion. But they did change a couple of things which, is not necessarily a positive one. And for example, they actually implemented this new trend, what we see in video games nowadays, this body type choosing. So when you make a character, of course, you can choose the sex of the character, What kind of character are you want to play, with a male or a female? But to choose between male and female, you cannot choose between these two options. You can choose between body type A and B. And one of them is male, one of them is female, but it's not written down that now you are playing with a male. It's written down that you are playing with this body type. Nowadays, this is how games are implemented. A lot of people got used to this and, whatever. You are usually creating your character once, and even then you are just seeing this text for a couple of seconds, and while you are deciding whether or not you want to play with a female character or a male character, it doesn't really matter how the UI is presenting this choice to you. The game is not different. It's going to handle everything the same way, so, in short, who cares? And I actually genuinely agree. Who cares? I mean, I myself just, choosing whatever type of character I want to make and go on with my life, try to enjoy the game. It's not going to ruin my experience. However, some people might not agree with me, and a couple of people are annoyed by this, and they created a mod which absolutely does nothing, just replaces these two words in the character creation screen. This mod is literally doesn't change anything. It's not removing options or restricting characters and such. What this mod is doing is only that. It's just simply replacing the text in the character creation UI from body type A and B to male and female. That's it. Now this mod was removed. Now Nexus Mod is the main hub where nowadays modding communities are, just uploading their mods, and they are, this is where they publish their creations, and, they are sharing them. Now, if something is removed from here, it's really, really hard for the masses to find it. So, of course, it's not impossible for even niche mods to find their audience, but it's significantly harder. So if some mods get removed from Nexus Mod, that means that the majority of people who are modding their games are never going to see this mod. So the question is, why? Why is this mod, which just writes two words on the screen, male and female, why is this mod hateful? Why is this a problematic mod? And the thing is that the truth is that this is a discussion what we gamers never really had. This is something which happened over our heads, and we never had a say in this, That this body type selector, the body type A and B, and, one of them is the male and one of them is the female, is now an industry standard. Which we all know, if you play video games, what was the last game which had male and female choices on the screen? It's still male and female, okay? So it's not some non-binary choosing or whatever, most of the games still are not inclusive in this regard. They're still handling everyone by the sex binary, and, doesn't do any progressive things. It's just simply, this change is simply just that in the character creation UI, it's not written there that you are choosing right now a male or choosing right now a female body. And I never understood why, what is the reason of this? Why is it good? And I never get any reason whatsoever why it became an industry standard for the first place. Because some people told me that it's because of inclusivity, for non-binary people who doesn't identify by the male and female binary. Now, this is not true, because the game still handles you by male or female binary. It's just simply this UI is not calling you male or female, but still, it's a binary. You still have two choices. There is not a third option for non-binary. There is not a slider, between feminine and masculine or anything like that. You still have a clearly male and a clearly female body. The game still handles the sexes differently. You still have the same pronouns. The females still wearing bras and, panties, and the males are wearing, some form of you know, masculine armor and such. So the game is still functioning the exact same way as it did in the 80s or so. So it's not true that it's because of inclusivity for non-binary people, because the system is still binary and it's still clearly male and female. But I also heard that, for example, it's for trans people that, you know, once you play with a trans character who looks like a male but actually born as female. But again, you are choosing how your character is looking right now, and right now you want to play as a female. You know, the trans women are women mantra is literally means that if you choose right now on the character creation that you are playing with a woman, and yeah, you yourself know that this is a trans woman, but it's only you who has to know that, because everybody else just has to refer to you as your chosen gender, which is female, which how you look, which how you play. So again, why wouldn't the UI show that you want to play with a woman? What is the benefit here? If you are trans, you want to see the text woman written on your character. If you are non-binary, you don't care about the word which is written there. You care about, you know, whether or not it's a scale or something like that, or you have a third option or something else, which you don't. So, and again, these concerns, these issues are not handled with the categories of male and female. It's handled by different options. Like, for example, you can, in other games, choose your character's voice and body separately, meaning that you can have a female body and a male voice. You know, that therefore you can create these obvious trans characters. There are other games which has pronouns, meaning that regardless how you create your character, you can just set in that whether or not everybody else is how they refer to you, and you can have even they and them pronouns and such. You know, some games do that. Now, when you say that these are because of inclusivity, I understand that. I do see that you did this to appease non-binary, trans, or whatever people who want to create characters like this. These are options for that. The body type A and B is not that. It's not an inclusive thing. So why? What is the reason to do so? And the truth is, I never, ever, ever heard any reason for this change. What I just told you, I heard those reasons, but they are lies. This is not the case. It's not for inclusivity because it has nothing to do with that. It's not for non-binary people because it has nothing to do with that. It's not for trans people because it's nothing to do with that. Now, what is the real reason why you did this? And so far, I never had any reason. Maybe if somebody is watching this video, you can say me any reason whatsoever. Why is it good? Why is it a positive for anyone at all that you cannot choose your character's gender or sex or whatever, that you can just have a androgyne version of those words which actually does not change anything in the game? Okay? Women still are going to wear bras, have female voices, and going to be referred as she. Males still are going to show their chest and nipples freely. They are going to have masculine bodies and body hair. They are going to have a deep male voice, and they are going to be referred to as he and him. So why is it good for me that I cannot choose that it's a man, instead body type B? What is the reason? Now, so yeah, I mean, this discussion that whether or not we gamers as a whole, we want this to be the standard because whatever reason. You know, that's a valid discussion, but no, we never had this discussion. We never had this question asked to us. Whether or not it's bothering us if we can choose between a male or female when we are having a character creation scheme. And the actual truth is that not so distant past, Lords of the Fallen creator actually had a questionnaire like this. They actually asked their fans whether or not they want male or female options when they are creating their characters, or they want this new type of body type A or B slider. And surprise, surprise, the overwhelming majority of people who are playing with Lords of the Fallen wanted male and female in the character creation scheme. So, you know, the creator of the game listened to the audience and made the game as such. And now in Lords of the Fallen, when you make a character, you can choose whether or not that character is going to be a male or female character. That's literally just the text written in the character creation screen changed. And you know what happened? Lords of the Fallen fun page, you know, on Reddit, where fans of the game can, you know, get together and talk about their experiences, share their memes and such. This Reddit banned all creators and the director of the game from the forums. So before that, if you went to the Lord of the Fallen Reddit, you could find the actual creators of the game and you can have discussions with them, and they actually had, you know, shared their insights and stories about the game, and they even reacted to your content, to your memes, you know, if they found it funny or such. They are now banned from this Reddit, which is a huge loss for the entire community. And the crime why they were banned is that they changed the character creation screen from body type A and B, A on or B, to male and female. So for some reason, this specific thing for body type A and B is extremely important for these I don't know, progressives. I don't even know who they are, but it is extremely important for these people, and it's just such a unimaginable offense for them to remove this from the game that they themselves shutting themselves in the foot. Therefore, by not allowing their community to interact with the artists and people who are creating the thing they are a fan of. They literally shut themselves in the foot. For why? Why is it so important? Well, we don't know because they never told us. And now we are here at Oblivion where the same thing happened again. The game creators included this body type A and B thing because no reason at all, we don't know why, nobody knows why. And then somebody creates a mod, which doing exactly just that, replaces two words in the character creation UI. It's not offensive, it's not hateful, it's not, you know, trying to incite violence or anything like that. It's just simply that, replacing two words on the UI. Now the creator of this mod got banned from Nexus Mod for hateful content. And not just him, a couple of other people actually created the same mod, you know, for other localizations and such. They all got banned for this hateful and unimaginably bad and racist and sexist or whatever content. So, you know, word started to spread of this obvious bullshit. Okay? Nobody in their right mind is in support of this ban. And therefore, because of the outrage, Nexus Mod had to back off and had to allow this mod to be uploaded to their site. And, you know, this is what I started to talk about in the beginning, that I honestly genuinely do believe that this entire thing is because now a lot of old school gamers are jumping into Oblivion who played it in high school, you know? And now they have a nostalgia trip and therefore have a nostalgia modding trip as well. And when we reach the modding sites and when we start to see what we can see right now, we are horrified. You know, Nexus Mod is filled with trans mods. You know, when you can have obvious characters with boobs and penises. You can have explicit sexual mods. You can have explicit, you know, for the mods which main purpose is to create adult videos with your characters. And you can have, you know, any form of sexual kinks and such, like you know, furry things, or you know, trance and whatever, you know, what you can imagine as a sexual kink, you can have a mod for that. But guess what? What you cannot have a mod for is male and female. I mean, what the hell is going on? So yeah, this thing has to stop. Okay, this kind of double standard, you know. Another issue was in Nexus Mod when, for example, in God of War, you know, there is a, which is, God of War is, the new generation of God of War is actually playing in, you can play in the Nordic mythology, you know, in Norse mythology. And in Norse mythology, there's Angrboda, who's Loki's wife and the mother of Hel, you know, who's the ruler of Helheim in this mythology. Now, in this version, in the God of War version, she is black. I mean, the mother of Hel, wife of Loki, she's black. So therefore, Hel is black as well. I mean, okay, sure. You know, it's just strange. So, okay, whatever. This was the artistic creation of the creators. They wanted to do this way, they wanted to do an inclusive thing, and they did that. Okay, whatever. You know, it's not real, it's not real mythology. We all know that this is a video game, so who cares? But then, somebody wanted to make a mod where they are replacing the model of Angrboda to a white one. And again, in this scenario as well, the guy was banned from Nexus Mod for this mod, which is race swapping a black character. I mean, isn't modding supposed to be that? I mean, it's the whole purpose of modding that you can create whatever you want. Whatever weird or crazy or messed up what you want to do. Okay, there are obvious things which you shouldn't do, like, you know, I'm not even going to explain this, but, you know, there are criminal things affecting children and such, which you obviously shouldn't be allowed to do, even if you are modding. So yeah, there are some limitations, there are some restrictions. But that's it. Now, if I want to replace the entire cast of Skyrim to the people of SpongeBob, and then I want to replace all of the dragons in Skyrim to Nazi soldiers and Hitler, why couldn't I do that? You can do that, of course you can. Nobody bats an eye. But if you are race swapping a black character to a white one, no, that's not good, not working. Oh, if you want to make a character trans, now that's completely fine. That's all right. If you want to have options for you know, having a penis and boobs as well at the same time and having sexual intercourse on screen with any character on the game, that's completely fine. But oh no, choosing between male and female when you're creating a new character, wow, no, that's a punishable offense. Can't you guys see the craziness in this? Because I can. And I am horrified where this entire thing is going. Either modding is a safe haven for everyone, and you can do whatever, unless it's literally criminal in nature. Because of course, that's good and has to be banned. But otherwise, if you don't do any criminal things, you can do whatever. That is modding is about. But no, it seems like if you are doing progressive things and LGBTQ positive things and you know, things like that, progressive things, that's completely fine. But if you do anything which goes even the slightest weight against that, that's instantaneously banned. And you know, the most confusing thing in this entire situation is that we all, as an entire community, I can say that nobody in the gaming world actually knows why is this a thing? Why is body type A and B is a thing at all? Nobody knows that. Nobody understands that. Nobody had any reason at all why this is happening. Because any reason what people are saying is simply that hand-waving. It's just hand-waving away the issue and trying to pretend that, oh, there's nothing to see here. You know? We are just doing that because something. And when you are pressing on that, okay, but that something is not the reason because, you know, it's not solving that issue. Okay, whatever, we'll just do this because. And that's it. Nobody ever had a real and proper reason why we are doing this. But now, if you are not doing this, that is an offense. That is a punishable offense. That is a reason to ban not just you, not just your mod, but even the creator himself from an entire Reddit forum. You are going to ban with the entire developer team from Reddit because of this punishable offense. It just doesn't make any sense. And then people have the audacity to turn around and ask you, why do you care? Why do you want a mod which is changing this? Me, I'm not the one who's banning people. I'm not the one who's trying to silence discussion. Why do I care? I care because you made me care. Because you want me to care. You want me to support your fight and ban and silence and, you know, kick out people from communities because they are not supporting of this. So yes, if you want me to agree with you in this ban, you should very well tell me a good freaking reason why this should be done. And if you cannot give me a good freaking reason, then, you know, I'm going to have a problem with this. So yes, I'm going to care about this, because I see injustice, because I see double standards, and that is why I care. Guess what? I play with Oblivion, and I didn't even, you know, stop for a second when I reached to this body type choosing. Okay? Because I don't care. I started to care when you banned somebody who made a completely harmless and unproblematic mod. I started to care when you banned the creator of the game you are a fan of. Okay? This is why I care. And still, I don't know why you care so much about this character's creation that you are willing to ruin your entire subreddit, that you are willing to ruin your entire mod community, your entire platform. You are willing to ruin your good name. Why is it so important for you? Of course, there is never an answer for this. Of course, there's never a reason for this. So I actually would be really surprised if now we would have one when we ask these questions. Because, quite frankly, there are no reasons. There are no answers. Okay? So, you know, if the discussion would be about that, should character creations make, you know, pronouns and voice and gender separate? So because right now, if you choose male or female, those three are going to be logged together. The character's voice, the character's body type, you know, waist to hip ratio, whether or not they have a boob or a vagina or whatever, you know, their bodily looks, their voice, their pronouns, whether or not they have a bra, this all locked together, you know, when you choose male or female. Now, that's a valid discourse, that whether or not these should be separated in a character creation screen for allow the players, you know, in the name of inclusivity, to have whatever combination they feel fit for their own character. I mean, that's a valid discourse to have. However, just simply hiding the words male and female, but leaving everything else as is, it's just brain dead.